In the summer of 1518, a strange and deadly phenomenon swept through the city of Strasbourg in modern-day France. It began with a single woman, Frau Trophia, who inexplicably started dancing in the streets. Within days, dozens of others had joined her, and before long, as many as 400 people were caught up in a bizarre and deadly dancing plague. The afflicted individuals, mostly women, danced for hours on end, sometimes even for days on end, without rest or sleep. Many of them reportedly collapsed from exhaustion, while others suffered heart attacks, strokes, or other fatal conditions. Despite the mounting casualties, however, the dancing continued unabated, with more and more people being drawn into the frenzied spectacle. The authorities were at a loss to explain the phenomenon, and various theories were put forth to account for it. Some believed that the dancers were possessed by demons or other supernatural forces, while others speculated that they had been poisoned or infected by a contagious disease. Still others saw the dancing as a form of mass hysteria, brought on by the stress and uncertainty of life in medieval Europe. Whatever the cause, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of the most mysterious and puzzling events in history. It is unclear why the outbreak occurred in Strasbourg, or why it was predominantly women who were affected. Some historians have suggested that the dancing may have been a form of protest or rebellion against the social and political order of the time, while others see it as a symptom of broader cultural anxieties about death and disease. Despite the passage of time, the dancing plague continues to captivate the public imagination, with numerous books, films, and plays inspired by the bizarre and tragic events of that summer in Strasbourg. Whether seen as a cautionary tale, a historical curiosity, or a supernatural mystery, the dancing plague remains an enduring symbol of the strange and unpredictable forces that can shape our lives and our world. Strasbourg is a historic city located in northeastern France, close to the border with Germany. The area has been inhabited since ancient times, with evidence of Roman settlements dating back to the 1st century AD. The city itself was founded in the 5th century, during the early Middle Ages, and it quickly became an important center of trade and commerce in the region. Over the centuries, Strasbourg grew and flourished, becoming a major cultural and political center in Europe. It was a center of the Renaissance, and many famous artists, writers, and scholars lived and worked in the city. The Strasbourg Cathedral, a stunning example of Gothic architecture, was built during this time and remains one of the city's most iconic landmarks to this day. During the 17th and 18th centuries, Strasbourg was part of the Kingdom of France and played an important role in the French Revolution. It was also the site of numerous battles and sieges during the various conflicts that ravaged Europe during this time, including the Franco-Prussian War in 1870. In the 20th century, Strasbourg played a key role in the rebuilding of Europe after World War II. It became the seat of several European institutions, including the European Parliament and the Council of Europe, and today it remains an important cultural and political center in the region. Throughout its long and storied history, Strasbourg has been known for its rich culture, stunning architecture, and vibrant art scene. Today, the city continues to attract visitors from all over the world who come to explore its many historic landmarks, museums, and cultural attractions. In the summer of 1518, a strange and deadly phenomenon swept through the city of Strasbourg in modern-day France. It began with a single woman, Frau Trophia, who inexplicably started dancing in the streets. Within days, dozens of others had joined her, and before long, as many as 400 people were caught up in a bizarre and deadly dancing plague. The dancing plague of 1518 is one of the most enigmatic and perplexing events in history. For weeks on end, hundreds of people in the city of Strasbourg were caught up in a frenzied dance that resulted in numerous deaths and injuries. Despite the passage of time, the cause of the dancing plague remains shrouded in mystery and intrigue. The dancing plague of 1518 was a truly remarkable event. It's not clear what triggered it or how it spread, but what we do know is that it was a mass phenomenon that affected a large number of people, mostly women. Witnesses reported that the dancers appeared to be in a trance-like state, unable to stop themselves from dancing even when they were exhausted, injured, or dying. Some accounts suggest that the dancing lasted for days or even weeks, with participants collapsing from exhaustion or suffering from heart attacks, strokes, and other fatal conditions. The authorities were at a loss to explain the phenomenon, and various theories were put forth to account for it. Some people believed that the dancers were possessed by demons or other supernatural forces, while others thought that they had been poisoned or infected by a contagious disease. Despite the mounting casualties, the dancing continued unabated, with more and more people being drawn into the frenzied spectacle. It's difficult to say why the outbreak occurred in Strasbourg, or why it was predominantly women who were affected. Some historians have suggested that the dancing may have been a form of protest or rebellion against the social and political order of the time, while others see it as a symptom of broader cultural anxieties about death and disease. Whatever the cause, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of the most mysterious and puzzling events in history. It's a reminder that we don't always understand the forces that shape our world or our lives, and that sometimes the most inexplicable events can have the most profound and lasting impact. The dancing plague of 1518 may remain an enigma, but its legacy endures. It continues to captivate the public imagination and inspire countless works of art, literature, and film. Whether seen as a cautionary tale, a historical curiosity, or a supernatural mystery, the dancing plague remains a haunting and unforgettable reminder of the unpredictable and mysterious nature of the human experience. Who was Frau Trophia? Frau Trophia was a historical figure who played a central role in the mysterious dancing plague that took place in Strasbourg, France in the year 1518. She was a woman who lived in the city and was the first person to start dancing uncontrollably in the streets, which later spread to hundreds of other people in the city. The exact identity and background of Frau Trophia is not well known, but she is believed to have been a widow who lived with her sister in the city at the time. According to historical accounts, she began dancing in the streets in July 1518 and continued to dance for several days without stopping, despite experiencing physical exhaustion and pain. Her strange behavior sparked a mass epidemic of dancing in the city, with hundreds of other people joining in and dancing uncontrollably until they collapsed from exhaustion or even died. Frau Trophia's role in this bizarre event has made her a fascinating figure in history, and her story continues to intrigue researchers and historians to this day. The dancing plague of 1518 remains a mystery to this day, and experts have put forth various theories to explain this strange phenomenon. Here are some of the most popular explanations. Mass hysteria. Some experts believe that the dancing plague was the result of mass hysteria, a psychological condition in which a group of people experience similar symptoms due to stress or anxiety. In this case, the stress may have been caused by a combination of factors, including economic hardship, religious fervor, and fear of illness. Ergotism. Another theory is that the dancing plague was caused by ergotism, a condition caused by the consumption of grains contaminated with the fungus Claviceps purpurea. This fungus produces a chemical called ergotamine, which can cause hallucinations, convulsions, and other symptoms similar to those experienced by the dancers. Vita's dance. Some experts believe that the dancing plague was a manifestation of ST. Vita's dance, a neurological disorder characterized by involuntary movements and muscle spasms. This disorder was often associated with religious fervor and was sometimes seen as a form of possession by evil spirits. Social and cultural factors. Finally, some experts believe that the dancing plague was the result of social and cultural factors. In this theory, the dancers were expressing their frustration with their social and economic circumstances through this bizarre form of protest. Others have suggested that the dance was a form of religious expression or a way to seek attention and fame. Despite the many theories put forth over the years, the true cause of the dancing plague remains a mystery. Nevertheless, it continues to captivate the imaginations of people around the world and serves as a reminder of the strange and mysterious ways in which the human mind and body can behave under extreme circumstances. The Strasbourg dancing plague might sound like the stuff of legend, but it's well documented in 16th century historical records. It's also not the only known incident of its kind. Similar manias took place in Switzerland, Germany, and Holland, though few were as large, or deadly, as the one triggered in 1518. What could have led people to dance themselves to death? According to historian John Waller, the explanation most likely concerns St. Vitus, a Catholic saint who pious 16th century Europeans believed had the power to curse people with a dancing plague. When combined with the horrors of disease and famine, both of which were tearing through Strasbourg in 1518, the St. Vitus superstition may have triggered a stress-induced hysteria that took hold of much of the city. Other theories have suggested the dancers were members of a religious cult, or even that they accidentally ingested ergot, a toxic mold that grows on damp rye and produces spasms and hallucinations.